Last night before I dozed off, I noticed this story pop up somewhere on my Twitter in one of those rare instances where I actually felt like paying attention to the bloody thing. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki, or Wojcicki, whatever the fuck, is saying to news outlets that she promises to hire 10,000 staff members dedicated to policing and moderating content here on YouTube. 10,000. According to Susan, quote, bad actors have used the site to, quote, mislead, manipulate, harass, or even harm. I'm not sure if she's talking about terrorists and racists, or the people who made the YouTube algorithm, but whatever. In the last year, we took actions to protect our community against violent or extremist content, i.e. conservatives, MRAs, and anti-feminists. ISIS and the Taliban are apparently still cool. Testing new systems to combat emerging and evolving threats. We tightened our policies on what content can appear on our platform or earn revenue for creators. We increased our enforcement teams, and we invested in powerful new machine learning technology to scale the efforts of our human moderators to take down videos and comments that violate our policies. Now we are applying the lessons we've learned from our work fighting violent extremism content over the last year in order to tackle other problematic, not the buzzword, content. Our goal is to stay one step ahead of bad actors, making it harder for policy content to surface making it harder for policy violating content to surface or to remain on YouTube. We will use our cutting-edge machine learning more widely to allow us to quickly and efficiently remove content that violates our guidelines. In June, we deployed this technology to flag violent extremist content for human review, and we've seen tremendous progress. Okay, so your cutting-edge machine learning. Okay, so the two impetuses for this are YouTube's recent removal of about 150,000 videos and shut down comments on 625,000 videos, which YouTube deemed to have been targeted by child predators. Along with that is the recent discovery by both BuzzFeed and certain others on the internet that the YouTube autocomplete on its search engine can easily auto-search for things that seem like pedophilic content. For instance, typing in "how to" will autocomplete to "how to have sex with your kids." YouTube says that they have no idea why it has been doing this, but they have fixed it and are investigating. Their advertisers, however, are apparently not happy, and many have pulled their ads. The second impetus for this is a call from British PM Theresa May to internet giants to read out online quote-unquote radical material, in light of all the recent terror attacks. Because I guess doing something to actually prevent the suspected terrorists from coming in the first place, is a bit beyond the intellectual scope of the average UK politician. Much better to just outsource the responsibility to the multinational conglomerate, charge them with moderating content on their own, and hope for the best. What could go wrong? You know, there's a little part in the conspiracy portion at the back of my brain that wonders if this isn't just a case of plausible deniability on the part of the British government. That by getting Google to silence and moderate content for them, they hope to leave an out for when they get raked over the coals for censorship and accused of bringing in the Orwellian surveillance state. They can just shrug and say, hey, we aren't doing anything, it's just Google. They're a privately owned company and we have no control over them. It's not like we both fillet the same ideological cock and balls. Not at all. It's just capitalism. Vote with your wallets if you don't like it. Except, of course, that Google is so big and omnipresent that such a thing is next to impossible. In fact, Google isn't even really Google anymore. Did you know that in 2015, Google restructured itself into a huge multinational conglomerate called Alphabet Inc., with the two founders of Google as part of its executive staff? I didn't. Not until about 3 hours ago when I just started researching this. This is how I work, by the way. I just started with a single idea that was going to be like a short 1 or 2 minute video where I just talked about something, that popped up. And then I start looking at stuff, and now that I'm actually looking at this stuff, I'm seeing all of this other shit that needs to be talked about, and I don't have the damn time for it. Google, or rather the conglomerate that it's part of, controls businesses in industries such as, everything. They're fucking everywhere. For example, Calico, a biotechnology company that is researching anti-aging and age-related diseases. Google Ventures, a venture capital company that invests in companies that do internet software, hardware, life science, healthcare, artificial intelligence, transportation, cybersecurity, and even agriculture. Waymo, a developer of autonomous cars. Nest Labs, a home automation producer of programmable, self-learning, sensor-driven, Wi-Fi-enabled thermostats, smoke detectors, security cameras, and other security systems. It introduced the Nest Learning Thermostat in 2011 as its first product. DeepMind Technologies Limited, a British artificial intelligence company that has already created several neural networks as well as a neural Turing machine, resulting in computers that mimic the short-term memory capabilities of the human brain. And, I'm so not even kidding here, they have a company they control named X. That's it, just X. X is a semi-secret research and development company located only a mile and a half from Google's main offices. The Googleplex. Seriously. The Googleplex. Okay, can someone cue the Bond music, please? X's mandate is to create moonshot technologies, that is, radical, groundbreaking technologies that change the world. Technologies such as Project Loon, which aims to bring internet access to everyone by creating an internet network of balloons flying through the stratosphere. It uses wireless routers in balloons that are above weather and plans to give access to the internet to those who can't reach it or are in need of help. Project Glass is a research and development program by Google to develop an augmented reality head-mounted display. The intended purpose of Project Glass products would be the hands-free displaying of information currently available to most smartphone users, and allowing for interaction with the internet via natural voice commands. One Google Glass costs about $1,500 or so. My point here is twofold. One, Google is insanely, freakishly powerful and omnipresent, probably more so than more than a few governments on this planet. And simply boycotting YouTube or Google is not only not an effective option, it's something they probably won't even notice. Consider that adding these 10 people is going to be a cost of at least $1 billion a year just to pay them, even if you outsource them to the usual Indian slave labor. And YouTube is already an overall financial loss, but they are willing to easily sink another $1 billion plus into it out of hand because they can. We are never going to hurt their bottom line as consumers or creators here on YouTube. To put this in perspective, Google Brain, a research project into AI that was initially produced by X, the Google Brain project alone has, according to Google, earned them more money than X's entire cost over the 7 years of its existence. Google, or rather Alphabet Inc., has mountains of we don't give a fuck money. And my second point, Alphabet Inc. and Google is probably as close as we will ever get in real life to a true James Bond villain organization, or a comic book evil corporation. Alphabet Inc. is fucking Spectre. And the nerd part of me thinks that's awesome, while the realistic part of me is quite honestly terrified. More so by the fact that no one seems to be pointing this shit out. Their potential to influence the future of humanity is breathtaking, and traditional Google, at least, is siding with the SJWs. Think about this. Those 10,000 people that they are talking about bringing in by sometime in 2008, those 10,000 people, that's about the size of the entire military force of Bosnia. In fact, that's larger than the entire military force of about a third of the countries on the planet. If you could somehow harness the power of internet porn and Cheeto dust, they would have an actual army that could conquer countries. Just from one little set of complaints. Just to deal with YouTube. Well, now you see what happens when I start with some small happening and let my stream of consciousness take over. I went from one news story about censorship to finding signs of our impending world domination. Look, joking and smartass comments aside for a minute. Everything that I have shown you is entirely true, as always. At least the truth insofar as I was able to discern in the couple of hours it took me to write all this out and follow the data trails. And it is very worrying. Alphabet Inc.'s influence over the tech world and the internet, especially the future of the tech world and the internet, is far more than any one group should have. The thing about a conglomerate is that they grow and get bigger by absorbing and cannibalizing other companies until they become amorphous masses of numbers and money and corporate whoredom and existing only to perpetuate themselves and remove competition. Google has a stranglehold on the internet, especially its video posting and information capabilities. And it is the absolute last group on this planet that should be deciding who can and cannot view what. Not to mention what really kind of creeps me out is their reliance and love with this machine learning program of theirs to police YouTube content. Considering that Alphabet subsidiaries are working on stuff like artificial intelligence and neural networks, it may very well be that one day they will simply try and build an AI machine that will moderate on its own and decide what we can watch or not. We actually might see the birth of something like Skynet in our lifetime. Fuck. Anyways, I'm done here for now, but I'll probably revisit this at another time when I actually, have time to do, all the proper research I would normally do. But, fuck. Someone should be talking about this stuff, and it seems the media certainly won't. If you want to help me talk about stuff like this on my channel, just click that little like button and subscribe, and I will see you later. I'm gonna go get a vodka martini.